Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg at Cloudcast Media. Always a good day when we see on the docket our friends from the Academy of Our Lady of Peace. And we're going to have to give you just a co-host microphone over here, Lauren. How many times have you been on now?
Oh, gosh, just a couple, Drew, but it's sure fun every time I come.
Yeah, that's great. And Lauren is the head of school, and you got one of your standout wonderful seniors in the studio with us. We're honored to chat with her about all the cool things she's been doing at OLP and some of the things she wants to do moving forward, and that's Ainsley Savant. How you doing, Ainsley?
I'm doing pretty good, Drew. I'm very excited to be here with Dr. Lek. I'm excited.
Very, very good. Very, very poised over here. And I'm thrilled to have, I didn't realize this till about 2 minutes ago, my colleague at Cloudcast Media, the senior executive producer, Sophia Nunez. How you doing, Sophia?
Hi, hello. Proud alum.
That's right. Yeah. What year did you graduate?
2018.
2018, my goodness. And you're going to say everything you learned and the reason why you were a stellar senior executive producer, all due to OLP.
Definitely. All that confidence comes from OLP.
And maybe Charles Parisi a little bit. Yeah, hard to say on that aspect of it. Charles, of course, is the CEO and founder and my business partner in this venture. Lauren, we're going to start with you. Listen, what a great school. You enjoy it, and the students just do wonderful things within the school, and then when they leave too, do they not?
They do. And I think having Sophia as an alum and Ainsley here as a senior speak volumes to what it means to be an OLP student and alum. And I am so excited to be joined by these two phenomenal women here with me today to speak to that. So I can't wait to put their voices on this show and pinch hit to them, because they truly are the reason why I love what I do every day.
Oh, that's terrific. Ainsley, how long have you been going to OLP?
This is going to be my 4th year here at OLP. I'm now a senior, and I'm graduating this year, which feels so crazy. I cannot even believe it. The time has flown by so quickly.
Very, very good. Do you have any ideas of where you want to go to college?
Yeah, I have my top 3 right now, which are Chapman University, University of Southern California, and Syracuse University.
And what field do you want to study?
I want to study broadcast journalism or communications.
Okay, very good. So broadcast, how about new media? Any print journalism in there at all?
Definitely print journalism. Yeah, I have been involved in involved in the podcast here at OLP. So,
sure.
But definitely print journalism is something that I want to explore more further in my education in college.
Yeah. I got a degree in journalism at San Diego State University when they just got running water. So that's how old I am. And I worked with the San Diego Union Tribune for many, many years and was a former sports writer at another paper here in San Diego. So it's a great field and so forth. So Sophia, what was your interest when you graduated from OLP?
I would say my interest was definitely social media. I was definitely looking into that. I was actually started out at State as a journalism major. And we didn't have podcasts yet there. But I have to say OLP definitely gave me the confidence to think I had a little shot at taking a stab at it. So
right now that you're in the world of podcasting and you're knee deep in it, what do you think?
It's a great platform, and I think it's a great learning platform. So I'm excited that they're doing it at OLP.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, talk about that, Lauren. Talk about what you're doing at OLP from podcasting, from broadcast journalism, and so forth.
I think at OLP, one of the things, to go back to what Sophia said about confidence, is that we are a school that is always listening to students. And it's kind of a revolutionary thought that you are listening to the youth by which you are working to educate. But as educators, I think that synergy allows for the power to say, what's happening today? What are you interested and passionate about? And how do we fuse those two things together? And so really the power of podcasting came about through our pilot television program that started close to about 15, 20 years ago in the basement of our school, grew from a club to a full-fledged UC-approved performing and visual arts program, then grew into one of our STEM programs, has over 150 students part of this. Ainsley is part of one of our producers of that pilot television program. And then as part of our Architects of Change, we brought that in to our podcasting program to say, what are some of the change makers on our campus that are really impacting social change, investigating issues that are moving humanity forward? And let's talk to them. Let's have conversations. And there came Pilot Voices. And Ainsley is now heading that up as well to really talk to those change makers on our campus.
You know, you brought up something that's near and dear to my heart, and we may have chatted about it in your previous interviews. We've known since people were walking upright that if you motivate them and focus on what they are interested in, they will exceed to just absolutely monumental levels. Unfortunately, our K-12 system doesn't embrace that as much as it should. Excuse me. OLP does. And we all know that. And haven't we actually asked the kids, students, what they're interested in and have them focus on that? When did you find out, Ainsley, that, boy, broadcast journalism is something I'm interested in? Something that when you were younger, even before you went to OLP, you used to watch newscasts with your mom and dad and go, I think I want to be that anchor or something like that. When did you first get interested in this?
Yeah, totally. So when I was younger, I used to do some junior reporting sessions for the Anaheim Ducks, actually. So I would go up to the Anaheim Ducks for their first flight field trips, and I would be the junior reporter. And that's kind of when I got introduced to the field. And I was like, oh, okay, this is something that I might be totally interested in doing for my future career. And so when I came to OLP, I immediately found my second family, is what I call them. I'm always in the PTV studio. And as Dr. Lek said, it was starting out in a basement, and now we have state-of-the-art equipment in our new buildings, and I am always in there. We are always videoing, we are editing, we are reporting, we are getting the story. We're always around campus filming the different activities that are happening on campus, and we have our morning news announcements and our piece of news broadcast that we hold on Fridays. And I'm happy to be one of the executive producers for that and one of the main anchors. And so what I love about OLP is that you can be involved in a variety of things. So this was just one of the things that I could find my second home in, and these were my people. And there are so many other things that you can be involved in at OLP, and this was just one of them. And so that's kind of when I realized that I was able to prosper and really just find myself within that little studio. And there's so many things you can do in this studio. And I'm happy to be part of it.
Oh, that's terrific. We are chatting with our friends from the Academy of Our Lady of Peace, Dr. Lauren Lek, head of the school, Ainsley Savant, a senior who's only going to be doing great things. You'll be an Emmy Award-winning journalist. We know that out of the gate. And then my colleague, Sophia Nunez, senior executive producer for Cloudcast, also an OLP graduate in 2018. You know, something you brought up, Lauren, I think is spot on. We talk about this all the time on our spotlight shows, and that is when you take a look at a content such as broadcast journalism that you guys are doing, and you realize it hits all the A to G requirements, and it does, whether it's in language arts or history, social science, and even STEM. It amazes me that more schools aren't doing that, because the end result is, can you do this as an objective? I used to write curriculum a billion years ago. Actually, I still do, actually, for that matter. But I go, why aren't you using this as a format? Because these kids are going to be embracing understanding the media or broadcast journalism, and they're going to still have these outcomes with it. When did that become a light bulb in OLP's head? 15 years ago, 25 years ago?
I think that what is magical about OLP is that so often you have students that demonstrate that passion and educators willing to say yes right along with it, right? And the expertise of the educators to know how to craft, right, the curriculum in such a way that it will incorporate those masterful learning outcomes, like you're saying, that will hit those benchmarks. Because the passion of the student, they don't know where that masterful educator will lead them. So they hit all those things. That's the wisdom of the teacher that's there in front of them. That's why you need both. And someone like our expert at the helm, Gilberto Moreno, who's been there for over 20 years and who's been guiding that curriculum from 20 kids to now over 150 plus, is that person who's able to say, yes, we're going to do the broadcast journalism, and you're going to do the sound engineering, and you're going to do all these other STEM things. That is the power of education, to me, in my mind. And then from there, you have these students that touch and feel and experience and then say, oh, I wonder about engineering. I wonder about all these other ways. What about AP computer science? What about programming? I've now touched a soundboard. I've now programmed this. I wonder if I have a passion in these other ways. That's where the true magic happens. Because, we were talking about Ainsley and I earlier. What does a true STEAM school mean? Like, what does it mean to be a STEAM school? And at OLP, we have truly prided ourselves on being that. And, Ainsley, today we've talked about her work in that broadcast journalism, in PTV and podcasting, but she hasn't even begun to talk about her work in our hackathon program and being a leader in creating that and offering that and her work in the sciences. I mean, that's a whole other conversation we could go through. But I think that when students get the chance to touch and feel something in one way, it unfurls the possibilities in all these other. And isn't that the magic of learning and the passion that comes from it, where you open up the door? And Sophia, you even said, right? Like, social media becomes the path of this that leads to the other. And that's what the masterful educator does, where students explore for the sake of learning.
Definitely. And I also want to say PTV is a staple. I'm 5 years post-grad. I remember sitting in section and watching it. I have a cousin who graduated in, I believe, 2008. And so she was there when it was getting started, and she remembers it. So I have tons of family, and we all refer to PTV quite often when we reflect on our high school journey. So just the power of media in that way, where you remember those things so distinctly. And OLP, you watched your sisters up there. It wasn't just somebody random. So, yeah.
When we come back from break, we're going to continue on that conversation. I want to find out all about this hackathon business that Ainsley's involved in as well. When we return to Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diego for more than 60 years. We'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you are listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show here on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diegans for more than 60 years. We are chatting with our friends from the Academy of Our Lady of Peace, Dr. Lauren Lek, head of school, joined by top shelf senior Ainsley Savant, on her way to a brilliant broadcasting career. But we're going to find out about hackathons in a few seconds here. Also joined by my colleague, Sophia Nunez, senior executive producer of Cloudcast Media, a OLP graduate in 2018. And before we toss it over to Ainsley for hackathon, I want to bring up something you mentioned, Lauren, that is right on. You talked about the different types of careers that you can get out of just broadcast journalism, for example. You don't necessarily have to be behind the camera. There are accountants. They are salespeople. They are graphic designers. They are engineers. I always use this example, and I worked for the newspaper, as many people know, for many years. And at our high point, we had 2,400 employees. Only 1/6 of those were journalists. The rest of us were in marketing, like myself, or in finance, or in sales, or in distribution, or in graphic artists, and whatever. So 5/6 of the Union Tribune, the newspaper, one of the top newspapers, was not writers. Same thing in this aspect of it. So, on that said, what is a hackathon?
That is a great question, because when many people think of the word hackathon, they think of the words hacking computers or hacking the internet. And it is something quite of the opposite. In the hackathon, we encourage girls to solve global issues within our society today. So every single year, this is, we just completed our third annual hackathon. We invite girls from all over the county in grades 8 through 12th, and we invite them to come together in a team environment to solve these issues. And they collaborate and they brainstorm and they bounce these ideas off of each other. And then by the end of the day, it's like an 8-hour day, they come up with a presentation that they've all worked on for the entire day, and they present it to a panel of judges based on what the theme is for that year. So for this past year, we just did hacking life on Mars. So we had a lot of professionals from the aerospace industry come in to be judges. We had a keynote speaker, and we had sponsors. So I think it's a really great way for not only the girls to be passionate about STEM, but it's also great for the leadership team to learn about the steps you take to perform a grand event like the hackathon.
Who comes up with the topics?
The leadership team. So we have the club. So the club is called Engineering Projects and Community Service, and we all have a big vote every single year on what the theme should be for the next year.
So it's the students then, correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely the students.
Right. Does the faculty have any say in this?
The faculty are a big part in the help. They are supporting us and encouraging us through the way. So I always think that the administration is like our backbone. They're there to support us, and they're always there to say yes. Like, how can we help you? How can we help you launch this? How can we get you to where you want to be and where you want? Yeah.
How about the parents? Are parents involved?
My mom, she's my biggest supporter. She's here today. She's always been my biggest yes and let's do it. So she's always been there for me to just say, let's do it. Do whatever you want. Go follow your dreams.
Yeah, well, we know moms and dads are the first teachers, and they're your lifelong teacher, way past school, and they don't stop teaching, whether you like it or not, and it's all good in that aspect of it. I've got a beautiful 28-year-old daughter who's teaching in the Poway School District, and actually I learned more from her than she learns from me. I'll guarantee that, an aspect of it, and I'm sure there's many cases the same with your parents, as well, Ainsley. Let me ask you this. So what advice would you give to people that are not quite sure they want to get into the broadcast journalism field? I'm too shy. I can't speak well. The camera goes on and I go blank. What advice would you give them?
That's a great question. So one of the things that I absolutely love about OLP is that you can try your hand at anything before you find what you love. So when I'm in PTV, everyone has the opportunity to try out different positions in the studio. So you can be switching the cameras. You can be the scroller of the teleprompter. You can be cueing the anchor, or you can even try your hand at anchoring itself. So there's many different things that you can participate in to kind of of figure out what part you want to be part of. And maybe, as Dr. Lek was saying, like you tried being the audio engineer and you're like, oh, this might be something cool for a different field, or this opened up a door for a different aspect of education that I want to figure out. So that's what I really love, is that I can have all these different passions within OLP and I can combine them as one big story of who I am. I'm able to use all these different activities and extracurriculars to define who I am as a person and figure out who I want to be in the future.
So are you a podcast host now?
I am, yes. We have a podcast called Pilot Voices where we interview influential leaders within our OLP community.
Right, exactly. So let me make you this offer if you're interested.
All right.
if you're available and mom and dad say yes, why don't you come on and co-host with a couple shows with me in the morning?
I would love that.
Okay, we'll make that happen. We had the Girl Scouts had come in, and the two people that came in to interview did a great job. And I said to one of them, was very poised like you, and I said, would you like to co-host a show? And her eyeballs popped out of her head, and she did, and she did a great job. And so now you'd have to get permission from Dr. Lek and the parents that you have to miss about half the day of school, because we do about 4 interviews a day, okay, on Fridays, that is. So if that works, we can talk to your mom and dad and Dr. Lek offline. How's that sound?
I would be so honored. My eyeballs are currently popping out of my head right now.
Okay, good. So now we put pressure on Dr. Lek and your mom to say yes and on that business. That's what I like to do in that aspect. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing wonderful things for San Diegans for 60 years. Dr. Lek, I mean, you're beaming, as you should, on all of your students, certainly, but what a great example Ainsley is. This is what makes your job just absolutely the best job in San Diego, I imagine.
It is. It's why I can leave my 4 kiddos and spend my days with 750 high school girls.
Right, exactly. Doing these types of things and so forth. How long have you been head of school now?
This is my 10th year. Man, has it gone fast.
Oh my goodness, 10 years.
Yeah.
So, well, if you go another 10 years, maybe even longer, you might be seeing the kids of some of the folks that you had down the road.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sophia, you've been doing a great job as senior executive producer for Cloudcast, and we do a whole bunch of podcasts. What advice would you give to Ainsley?
I would say the biggest advice, and I actually wanted to touch on this with Hackathon, you will go out into the world and you will meet a lot of people, and you will realize the most valuable thing you have is being in a room full of women and figuring out a solution. Mm-hmm. And so I want to say, I think Hackathon's a great opportunity because I have a lot of, people I've met going to college, and a few of them grew up in San Diego. And I always say, I feel like they missed out on the opportunity to get into a room with some women. And even though it's a fake scenario, work together to solve a problem. I think that that's one of the biggest things I took away from OLP. And it's the biggest thing that makes you go, when you are working in media or wherever, oh, I think I found something for her to do. And it makes you constantly do that. And so I think I would say stay close to what you learn there and realize it's the most valuable part of it all. Yeah.
So powerful.
Exactly. So we'll start with you on this one, Ainsley. Any final comments?
Oh, I'm just so happy to be here. And my biggest advice for anyone listening is to just try your hand at everything. Go after every extracurricular, every activity that you might have an inkling or a passion for. Just try it all, because you never know what you might be interested in or find that passion for.
And not only that, this is what you might be interested in 2022, but in 2024, with the same skill sets, you're interested in something else, which is really important. Lauren, any final comments?
What a day of joy. I mean, to be sitting here with, an incredible senior and a graduate, I think it's a testament. And I want to go just end on something that Ainsley said about how these experiences have helped me create my story. And I think you've heard two amazing women today who have shared how OLP has helped them, give them the skills to take flight and really launch their stories. And I invite others to come and learn about OLP and how that might be part of their daughter's story.
Yeah, and there's a great testaments with that. So, Ainsley, looking forward to finding out if you're allowed to co-host with me, or you can co-host with me, and so forth. And Lauren, we know we'll have you back on. We always love having some of the great things that you folks are doing throughout the year. And Sophia, once again, I've learned something new about you in a very, very positive way on that. Thanks for joining us. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing terrific things for San Diegans for more than 60 years.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.